Welcome to the first in a series of tutorials using iOS5. In this I'm going to set up a tab bar application very quickly to show you how to set it up using a storyboard. It's a bit different to my other tutorials which I do mostly with code and from scratch. I will have to redo some of the older ones because they don't quite work with iOS5 from scratch. You can still build them in iOS5 but you can't start them in iOS5. But just for this one, I'm going to show you quickly how to set this up using a tabbed application. So go ahead and create a tabbed application called iOS5 tabbed. We're going to leave it with storyboard and referencing, although we're not going to use anything really in this except a few small little bits and bobs. Great. Okay. If you haven't used storyboard before, it's kind of daunting because, as you'll see now, it's like spaghetti junction. There's quite a lot going on. Just zoom out a fair bit, just to give yourself an idea of, what's really going on. All these lines do is show a relationship between the tab bar controller and the two views. You've automatically got two view controllers generated and two M files and H files with it, but we want this to be a bit different. We want to add some extra things to this. So open up your sidebar and drag in a few more view controllers, just anywhere on the screen. We just want them to be a bit spaced out so you can see what's going on. More here. Okay. Now we have to link these view controllers to our tab bar controller. So click on your tab bar controller and look at the references, and you'll see that it is referenced to these two view controllers. Okay, so what we want to do now is add the new ones to it. So just straight drag them over. 1, 2, and 3. So there you go. All 5 are now linked to this. Okay, so if we run this now, you'd see, as you can see here, there are 5 now tabs in this, but we want to quickly change these to be a bit different. First of all, you may see that this looks a bit messy. Unfortunately, you can, I'm pretty sure, drag them around, but you'll see the first two, they're the view controllers. But if you're new to Xcode and iPhone development, you might wonder why there's view controllers here. There's 5 view controllers, but only 2 in the sidebar. This is because these view controllers automatically generate an empty view controller. We can't do anything in these 3 unless we actually make new files and link them to these outlets, because there's nothing in them. But if you go into the first view and second view, we can mess around with the code there. But for this example, we're not going to have to change anything in the 3 new ones. But what we are going to do is just mess around this a little bit. If you go into the very first one, we want to delete this annoying little first bit. So click on tab bar and delete the title first. Delete. And also, we're going to change it from a custom to favorites. So this means these are all going to have their own little icons. If I made images, we can make them to custom ones, and we can make it so there's 2 different images where it's pressed on, not pressed on. But I'll do that in another tutorial when I actually have time to make the images 2 different types and actually fix my Git repo so I can put this code online. But for now, we're just going to fly through these. Second view controller, click on the item. We want to change it to, it's called featured. The third view controller, we're going to go over to the view, drag in a label just so we can see which ones are which, and just call third view. So getting on the screen, click on your item and just change it to history. Anything really low, automatically delete your title if you don't want to bother deleting it. Click on our fourth view controller, another label, drag it in, rename to fourth view, and change the tab bar item to search. Why not? Straighten it up. and then go down to your final view controller. Drag a label onto the view. Rename as fifth view. Click on your tab bar item and change it to most recent. Okay, that's all you need to do. Build and run with your simulator. That's why I zoom out, so you can actually see what's going on. Otherwise it can get very messy with all the relationships going on. And there you go. You've got a tabbed view controller. 1, 2, 4th view, 3rd. I clicked them in the wrong order. Doesn't really matter. You can change that yourself very easily. So that's it. That's made a very simple application. Now if you wanted to, as you see here, this is telling you this is loading from these two files. The first one will load from the first one, the second loads from the second one. If you wanted to, you'd need to make it so these load from custom view controllers. They'll actually do something. Just right click, new file. So let's close simulator for now. Make a view controller and call it third view controller. Make it a ordinary view controller subclass. No nib and no iPad. Create. And then back to your storyboard. Select the third view controller, which is probably the actual fourth, but it doesn't really matter. Zoom in a tiny bit. We actually don't, but so you can see what I'm doing. Open up the dependencies, and where it says class UI view controller, type in third view controller. So that means this is now loading from the third view controller. And hey, can we just prove this isn't what we want? Okay, so third view controller, uncomment view did load, and we're going to make very quickly UI label equals UI label lock init with frame CG recommend. It's just drawing out the code very quickly. 0, 0, so it's a very corner. 320 the width, 40 height. Label dot text equals I hope this works. Comment self dot view add subview label. Okay, so build and run. If you understand what I was doing there, that's just me, instead of using a nib or the storyboard to build a label, I just did it with code very quick. So where was our third one? There we go. So this is now loading a custom view controller into our application. So there you go, very easily. You can delete that text very simply. That's just informing you that they're loading from that. And as you can see, I've made something in the third view controller that's displaying there. I know it's out of sequence, it's just the way I set it up very quickly. But I hope that helps explain how to use a storyboard and make a tabbed application very simply and very quickly. Very easy to mess around with. As I said, I'll make the custom one with different images and show you how to set it so when you press a certain icon, it's a different color, so you know which one you're on, which one you're not. Okay folks, I hope you join me again soon for more tutorials. Take it easy, bye bye.